Hey everybody, Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. I am not in the picture because I am behind the camera. I am protesting the loss of my protest beard. For those of you following NoDQ.com, I made a deal. If one of several stipulations happened, I would shave off the beard. And as it turned out, Zack Ryder is the new IC champion.
But wait there, Q-Ball.
Shut up.
Hey. How about that Shane McMahon dive off the top of the cell there?
That's right. Shane McMahon jumping off Hell in the Cell. This WrestleMania was really interesting. First off, before we get to the card, we have Jeff Meacham here on the right. On the left, webmaster Wade Needham, longtime contributor to NoDQ.com. How you doing tonight, Wade?
Doing all right. A little tired. You know, a long day.
It's almost 11 frickin' o'clock.
It's late.
As we start this. We've been watching WrestleMania for 7 hours.
Yeah.
No. 9 hours.
Almost 9 hours. I mean, this show went really long.
Yes.
Now, here's my overall opinion on the show. I thought the wrestling matches were really good to great for the most part. The quality of the wrestling was strong from start to almost finish. Now, Jeff, I want to ask you, overall, what was your impression of WrestleMania?
I have to agree with that. The match quality itself, I would rate them all in the 3 to 4 star, with some being 5 star. Well, I mean, Meltzer's 5 star is pretty high ranking, but the women's match was incredible. The Hell in the Cell delivered. Unfortunately, the finishes came up super short for me. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's interesting is that the finishes were really bizarre. I think the fans were disappointed with the outcomes of the matches more than the actual matches themselves.
Absolutely.
Now, Wade, I want to ask you, do you think that this is a bad thing, that even though the matches were really good to great, the finishes were questionable?
I wouldn't personally say that the finishes were questionable, in my opinion. I think about matches in a whole different way than a lot of other people think about them. I had no gripes with anything except for how long the entire show was, really.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely an issue.
Yeah. You have a unique perspective. You sit ringside oftentimes for EWF, calling quality matches more often than not, and the matches tonight weren't low quality. No. I just didn't think the finishes were what we were expecting or what we wanted, and I think that's a problem. They weren't necessarily bad finishes. We're just being a bunch of spoiled brats. That's what it is. We wanted what we wanted. We didn't get it, so wham.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe we're just getting too old for professional wrestling. I'm not sure.
Well, I stated on the prediction show with you and I the other day that if it didn't deliver the way I wanted to deliver it, if it didn't wow me, that I was going to take a break and not watch after tonight. Well, I'm taking my break.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I enjoyed parts of WrestleMania, my concern is that there's really nothing to look forward to post-WrestleMania. No real hook for us to keep watching Raw and SmackDown in the coming weeks and the coming months. That was my big issue with this show. And all the future stars, guys like AJ, guys like The New Day, one of the hottest acts in the company. Sami Zayn lost. Kevin Owens lost. All these people, Sasha Banks lost. All these people that you think would be the future of WWE, they would be showcased at WrestleMania, winning at the biggest show of the year, the show that people remember. WrestleMania is what people remember.
And the guy that promised to deliver that future, Shane McMahon, lost.
Yeah. Now let's go over the results here real quick. First off, the ladder match. Awesome match. I mean, we had so many great spots in this match. Sami Zayn, you remember that spot where he dove through the ladder to the outside? I mean, that was incredible. I mean, what did you guys think of the match? Wade?
Threading the needle. Not once, but twice. With the tornado, DDP, or DDT.
We'll get to DDP later.
It's tired. I'm tired.
We're all very tired.
I'm exhausted.
But yeah, no, I thought it was really good. You know, I always wanted WrestleMania to have like Money in the Bank come back.
Yeah.
And this is their answer to it. 2 years in a row, we've got the Intercontinental title match and the ladder match.
Yeah,
it's performed.
If they're going to open with the Intercontinental title ladder match every year, I'm not going to complain about a ladder match not being at WrestleMania, because it was a solid opener, and we got the beard shade of the results. So that was definitely a plus.
We got a surprise. Zack Ryder winning, definitely a shocker. It's cool and all.
You guys saw Aaron's reaction on the film.
Yeah, we got my reaction, youtube.com/NoDQCW. That was hilarious. For you guys, not so much for me. The beard is now history. But the match was really solid. I think everything that they did in that match worked. No real blown spots. I mean, everything went very smoothly in that match, I thought.
And it's funny you say that, no blown spots, when it was a match featuring Sin Cara.
Yeah, Sin Cara fell down onto, who was it? Stardust. Stardust had the polka dot outfit and the polka dot ladder. That was a nice touch.
Was really cool.
So this match was a lot of fun. Great way to kick off the pay-per-view. Let's backtrack a little bit to the pre-show, which I thought was very solid. We had Kalisto retaining against Ryback. I know some people were surprised by that. I wasn't really. I figured Kalisto would somehow manage to squeak by a victory.
Well,
and
the way they go in Ryback, you think he would have won, though.
Yeah,
I was hoping Ryback would have won.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I picked.
I think it was just sad that the arena was empty, mostly empty for this match, because fans had so much trouble getting into the arena because apparently there was a Wi-Fi issue or issue scanning the tickets, and the arena was maybe only like 25% full for that match. And you think about a year ago, John Cena was going for the U.S. title in one of the main event matches.
Yeah, a friend of mine that makes belts for wrestling figures quoted that they've once again devalued the U.S. title.
Yeah,
they devalued it.
Yeah, and we had the 10 Divas match, or now I guess the 10 Women's match. And we'll get to that more in a second here. Brie Bella tapped out Naomi, and apparently this is going to be her last match, or one of her last matches. So she got her big moment on the way out. Nikki Bella came out to celebrate with them. Eva Marie got a lot of heat. Lana looked great, even though she only did like 2 moves. She physically looked great.
Lana looked good.
And then we had the Usos against the Dudley Boyz. Usos won and then ended up putting the Dudleys through the tables. That was a cool spot. No real problems with that match. For pre-show, these matches were all solid. Would you guys agree?
You know, every match that I cared about, the wrong people won. So, you know, it didn't deliver for me.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to build towards the future. I mean, we had AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho. I thought this was a really good match. Probably the best of the bunch up to this point. Would you guys agree with that, Wade?
Yeah, I guess maybe. I can't remember the match. I'm tired. I really am.
Jeff, what did you think?
I think the first match was more solid than the WrestleMania one, but it was still okay.
Yeah, I mean, they kicked out of each other's finishers. We had a double code breaker for the finish, which was kind of cool. But I felt AJ should have won at WrestleMania. I think they should have booked this differently. Maybe had Jericho with 2 wins to 1, and then AJ wins the 4th match at WrestleMania.
But if they're going to go to best of 5, then let's hope the 5th match.
Or they should have done this differently, so the 5th match was at WrestleMania. I don't know. The fact that this is going to probably continue now, it doesn't feel right. It should have been concluded at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania is supposed to be the end of the thing.
With AJ going over the past star.
But WrestleMania is supposed to be a solid ending and a new start.
Yeah, and how about this? So we had the League of Nations defeating the New Day. New Day, probably the hottest act in the company, losing to one of the coldest acts in the company. Now, I guess there was a method to this madness. I will say New Day had an awesome entrance with the Budio cereal, and the cereal literally coming out of it, and then they came out with their Dragon Ball Z costumes. That was a really cool entrance. League of Nations
won. The fact that I cheered for the New Day, and they lost, not happy.
Yeah.
Just saying.
What can you say about that? But anyways, League of Nations won. They cut a promo, and then we had 3 surprise appearances. Well, sort of surprises, but the biggest surprise was Shawn Michaels coming out
in gear,
in his ring, and he looked in better shape than when he retired.
Yeah,
he looked in tremendous shape. Yeah, I was really impressed.
Yeah.
You had Austin coming out. You had Mick Foley coming out. And with the help of the New Day, Austin, Foley, and Shawn Michaels beat up the League of Nations, and
except Wade Barrett, they saved him for last.
Wade Barrett got all 3 legend finishers.
Yes, to send him off.
Yeah, to send him off into the sunset.
Yes.
And then we had Austin giving Xavier the stunner. I mean, New Day was trying to dance with them, and Austin, of course.
Wade Barrett's gone?
Well, his contract's up soon.
He's on his way out?
He pretty much announced he was bailing. Yeah.
I mean,
so I go back to being the only good Wade in pro wrestling?
Exactly. You should have been doing commentary on this show. By the way, EmpireWrestlingFederation.com. You can check out.
If you're going to be doing plugs, I got a plug right now, brother. That's right. Adrenaline Rush coming in. Friday, May 6th in Covina, California, the 20th anniversary extravaganza for the Empire Wrestling Federation. Come out to Covina. Come on out. 20th anniversary. Come on, how many indie promotions can say they've lasted 20 years, right?
None in SoCal.
Exactly. And we got the EWF Hall of Fame, the first class, and it's going to feature the very first ever EWF World Champion Bobby Bradley. It's going to feature former WWE Divas Champion Melina and the future Frankie Kazarian. Come on out, EmpireWrestlingFederation.com. Frankie Kazarian will be in action one-on-one against Scorpio Sky.
And in the main event, of course, we're talking about Uptown Andy Brown challenging Gary Yap's Sinister Man in Black. And not only that, but you'll get to see the very rare anymore appearance of, at EWF of Jeff Meacham, Aaron Rift, Dylan Meacham-Wedge, and everybody else.
And
we'll all be there.
And you can hear my awesome voice for about 3.5 hours on commentary.
If we're going to go 3.5 that time? 3.5 hours?
Come on, man.
Damn.
Come on.
Who knows? Anyway, all right, back to the WWE.
Right.
Okay, here we go.
EmpireWrestlingFederation.com. Let's move on here. The street fight, Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose. I thought it was really good while it lasted, but I think you guys would agree with me that that match was too short.
Way too short.
I actually disagree.
You thought it was the right length?
I thought it was the right length. They didn't overdo it. I thought it was right straight to the point. Boom, what they needed to do. Get in and out, shoot shot, one time for your mind.
I think I will concede in today's WWE it was the right length.
Yes.
If it had been WWE Attitude Era, it was about half of what it could have been.
That's what she said.
Hey!
And I think that this was one of those weird matches where a finish would not really please the majority of people because on one hand you should protect Brock Lesnar. He's one of your biggest assets. You're paying him a ton of money. But on the other hand, Dean Ambrose really needed a win here and he didn't get it.
Yeah, when does Dean Ambrose won a big match?
Yeah, so
Tell me that.
Did he look strong, though, at the end of the night?
to a degree.
Okay.
It took a massive amount of beatdown, massive amount of suplexes, and an F5 on the stack of chairs to beat him. I'd say he looks strong.
Yeah, I mean, he did take a lot of punishment, and I guess maybe eventually he'll be the new Jeff Hardy, the guy who just keeps losing and losing, but finally he gets the big one. We're just going to have to wait another day.
So we have to wait another 3 years for him to win the world title?
Who knows? Maybe at the rate we're going.
Jesus.
All right, next up we have the Divas Triple Threat match. Sasha Banks coming out with her...
Divas.
Oops.
Divas.
Oh, I
you're
forgot
fired.
to mention Lita in the
I'm going to shave your
pre-show.
eyebrows next.
Shut up. All right, during the pre-show, I forgot to mention Lita presented the new Women's Championship, and I guess the women are now just known as superstars like the men.
They are superstars like the men, as it should be. I have been a long advocate of women's wrestling, and I really have. And I am so happy that these ladies, everybody in the division, from Sasha to Charlotte to Becky to Natty to everybody, is getting their just due. And yes, the belt looks like the world title, and that's fine. It's a little more colorful, a little more pretty than the world title belt, but you know what? These girls earn their stripes.
Women.
And women, whatever. Girls, women. Females, how about that? These females earn their stripes, and they had a solid match at WrestleMania. And again, the outcome wasn't what we all wanted. We all wanted to see Sasha probably win the championship, but they wanted to keep Charlotte strong as the first new women's champion.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great match, but I felt that timing is so important in wrestling that it was a mistake to not go with Sasha winning here at WrestleMania. I just feel it was the right time to do it
He had
tonight.
her cousin go into the Hall of Fame the night before.
Yeah,
And bring her out to the ring.
And think of the publicity with, on all the websites like MTV. They would have the press saying Sasha Banks' cousin of Snoop Dogg won the women's title. I just think WWE missed out on the opportunity.
Now that they're known as Divas, and it is the women's division, and they used to call it the Divas Revolution, would it be safe to say they can now call it the New Women Order?
Hey, there you go.
The NWO.
I like that.
I like it, Wade.
We'll go with that.
All right, next up we have the
Next talk wrestling, maybe.
Next up, we had the Hell in the Cell match, which meant that Triple H and Reigns was closing out the show, and we were all getting concerned about that.
We were all signed already, yeah.
Yeah, so this was an interesting match, a little bit slower paced than the other matches. Basically, Undertaker beat the crap out of Shane for most of the match. Chokeslammed him on the steel steps. Shane did get in some offense, and then they ended up on the outside. I think Shane used the bolt cutters to open up the cage to some degree, and then they did the move where Undertaker put him through the cage.
I have a question about that spot. Why is Vince McMahon, the benevolent dictator, if you will, not warning his German announce team, just so you know, shift going down. They were both legitimately frightened when that cage came down.
Yeah.
I can speak as experience as an announcer or commentator, whatever you want to call it, whatever the term is. I can speak. Once you're at ringside and you're doing your job, calling the action, it's expected that anything can happen. So
Exactly. So if they're too prepared, then it doesn't look realistic.
You're in the danger zone, brother.
But when you got a multi-100-pound frame of cell coming down your face, you're going to get the shit pissed out of you, scared out of you. Like,
all the time it took Shane to, clip all things, you're kind of thinking to yourself, like, well, it's right in front of me. Something's getting set up. Should I move?
All I know is the one German guy, his eyes were about this big, and he was wheeling back like a bat out of hell.
Yeah. So, anyways, we had Shane McMahon knocking out the Undertaker on the announce table with the monitors or something.
Why are we discussing logic in pro wrestling anyway right now?
I know. For this show, logic goes out the window.
That's a whole nother story for another time.
You just got to enjoy the carnage.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That's
Shane knocked out Undertaker on the table, went to the top, and of course did his big jump off the top of the cell, which meant that I'm losing my hair as well as my beard, which is why I'm not on camera.
That's right.
And then Shane missed. He missed the big move. Undertaker dragged Shane back in the ring, and he kind of like patted Shane on the face. And at this point, I thought that they were going to go with the finish where Undertaker would, because he had so much respect for Shane's fight, that he would just sacrifice himself for the greater good for the future of the company. But instead, he did what Vince asked him to do and beat Shane McMahon, and that was the end of it. And probably the end of Shane.
Now, does this mean he's officially Vince's bitch?
I guess so. So, yeah, I mean, I really felt that the finish that Jeff had mentioned about Undertaker sacrificing himself, I think they should have gone with that. I think that was the wrong finish, but whatever.
That result more than anything is why I'm just dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Dumbfounded.
And then we had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, or the Dre, as
Which
I
started
like to call
at 8:15 our time.
Yeah, this show was going really long by this point. We had Shaquille O'Neal, making an appearance in this match.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I mean, Shaq has always been a big fan, so for him to finally get in the match was something that I expected him to eventually get involved in some kind of match, but not this one. I mean, that was definitely a surprise. Would you guys agree on that?
Yeah, I was legit surprised that Shaq was the last entry, and I expected him to go farther in the Battle Royal than he did. And the fact that the rest of the participants eliminated him and Big Show at the same time was kind of like, okay. But then again, are you really going to have a retired athlete at that, get any more physical than that at a WrestleMania?
So,
and risk serious injury.
Yeah, I mean, this was essentially a comedy match, I think, with
Which it shouldn't
the Giants.
be if it's the Andre Legacy
Yeah,
match.
nobody was really taking it seriously, but on the plus side, Baron Corbin, who was a surprise entrance, got the win. Which is cool. I mean, it's good that he got the win here. It would have been nice if the match had a little bit more credibility, I think.
Gained Ryan 5 points.
I was hoping Samoa Joe would have come out for it.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been cool. But, Baron Corbin finally gets a big win. He's been losing a lot of matches in NXT, so it was nice for him to pick up a win here.
Well, Joe,
there you go. Wade is not a fan of Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin has a pretty big fan base. So
do I.
there you go.
I mean, nothing. That's right.
Boom!
Yeah. So, I mean...
Give it up for Wade, need him, damn it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a nice surprise for Baron to win. And then we had the segment with The Rock. The Rock came out. He had, a flamethrower and set his name on fire.
Wait. You forgot the most important part of that segment.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, baby.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
man, the best part of the Cowboys.
Damn right they are.
Oh, and I forgot to mention in the Battle Royal, DDP was in it, and Tatanka.
Well, good for Tatanka. Anyway, Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. They did a little dance segment, and then they were the ones that introduced the Rock's coming out, which was the best part of Rock's segment. And then he came out, announced the inflated figure, and that 101,000 and something, whatever it was. And then the big surprise. We were all hoping for it, and they came out.
Everyone was waiting for the Wyatt family, wondering what they were going to do. We had the Wyatt family come out, go back and forth with The Rock. The Rock called them Duck Dynasty.
Rejects,
Rejects. He said another word, but we have kids in here, so I gotta be careful. Basically, Rock said he was there for a match. He took off his shirt, he had his gear on, and we had a new record, not only for attendance, 101,000 or whatever it was, but we had a new record for the shortest match in WrestleMania history, beating King Kong Bundy's 9 seconds from the very first WrestleMania. Yeah, that was more like a 30-second match, but whatever. Rock literally hit a rock bottom on Rowan and pinned him, and that was the end of it.
And it was legit, not Bundy, which, like I said, like 24 seconds. It was legit 6-second match.
Right. And then the other Wyatts came in, and then suddenly Mr. Cena himself Big match, John comes out. Huge reaction from the crowd. I mean, they popped big for the guy. Then, of course, they did the John Cena sucks song. But they cheered for him coming back. They were happy about that. And John Cena came out, rock bottom to Rowan or one of them. Or maybe it was Strowman that got the rock bottom. People's elbow.
Whatever it was.
John Cena did the 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena and Rock embrace. And that was the big segment. So, you know, they did utilize those guys in an interesting way, I guess.
Every major superstar of WrestleMania, the last however many years, 32 years, was acknowledged this weekend except one.
Yeah.
So.
And then we had the main event match. Oh, speaking of main event, Sting, of course, during the Hall of Fame segment, came out dressed like he was during the main event Mafia. I found that to be funny.
That was funny.
So we had the main event, Triple H and Roman Reigns, which went pretty much exactly as everybody expected. A slow-paced, methodical Triple H match. But the crowd, after seeing all this other stuff on the show, this was not what they wanted to see.
I don't hesitate when I say this. Had I been at AT&T, as soon as the Rock segment, I'd have been in the car on the way to the hotel.
Yeah, because it takes like 2 hours to get out of the stadium.
At least.
It's so packed and so congested. But I know some people spent, you know, maybe hundreds or even thousands of dollars to go to WrestleMania, so they feel they have to be there for the whole thing. But this was just a disaster. The crowd booed the whole thing. Anytime Reigns got any kind of offense, they booed.
Except for
when he speared Stephanie. He speared Stephanie, and then finally in the end, you know, Triple H teased the sledgehammer. I think Reigns hit like 3 Superman punches, and then finally ducked the sledgehammer shot, and then hit the spear and got the pin. Roman Reigns, your new babyface champion, the new face of WWE, and everyone booed it. Nobody cared.
The show went off the air with a resounding chorus of boos.
Yeah, WWE, it sounded like they were trying to turn down the mic as much as possible when the crowd was booing Reigns.
Resounding chorus of boos for the new face of the company.
Yeah. So
they wonder why people are turning away in droves.
Yeah. So in the end, great wrestling on the show, questionable finishes, and no real direction post WrestleMania. I mean, it just feels like it's going to be the same WWE that we see 11 months out of the year.
Status quo, yawn, Jeff's watching on Wednesdays only.
Yeah, on the current...
I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. The way I measure a really good pay-per-view is by the end of the night, if it makes me want to say, I can't wait until Monday Night Raw, it's a good pay-per-view. I didn't get that tonight.
So, if you guys had to give it on a scale 1 to 10, Jeff? I'll tell you, I'll give it a 7. Too long of a show.
I'd say that's fair, 6 or 7.
Wade?
I usually don't like to give star ratings or 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10 kind of stuff. I'll say that this entire weekend was worth $9.99.
I mean, that is true.
That is a very poignant quote.
We did not spend $60 on this pay-per-view.
No.
And this ain't 10 years ago.
No, you know what? It's funny. I was talking with Dylan and my dad about this before I came down here today. We had planned, if the money was going to be there, we were going to be in Dallas this weekend for the whole weekend. And even take a tour of the Cowboy Stadium before WrestleMania. After sitting here the last 7 hours, I am so glad I am in this man's living room and not in Dallas.
Yeah.
I'd have been pissed paying for seats, even in the cheap seats for this show. NXT was fantastic. Top to bottom, that show delivered on every marker.
Right.
The Hall of Fame could have been better, but it wasn't the worst. WrestleMania was not worth the trip halfway across the country.
Right, but watch it on $9.99. You know,
Yeah,
it was a
exactly.
fun show. It was an entertaining show, just too long.
Well, I've said for a long time that WWE is no longer worth $60 for pay-per-view, for any
Right.
pay-per-view.
I mean, the
And-
production was great. I mean, the production was tremendous.
The WWE production value has always consistently gotten better and better and better. The production value of the television show or pay-per-view is always good, but the match quality has to be there, and the storylines have to be there.
Get new writers.
Seriously.
New bookers, new writers, shake things up. That's what I wanted the whole time.
I'm looking forward to taking this month and detoxing and watching NXT on Wednesday nights and then going to Friday, May 6th, EWF, and watching these guys deliver.
Exactly. EmpireWrestlingFederation.com. Currently on NoDQ.com's poll, over 2,000 votes, 39% thumbs down, 31% thumbs middle, 28% thumbs up. So a very mixed reaction.
Very equally mixed. I'm surprised.
That's very interesting, actually.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those polarizing shows that people are either going to love or hate.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyways, that'll wrap it up. Check out Wade at EmpireWrestlingFederation.com. Jeff Meacham, Twitter.com/_Jeff Meacham. Of course, I'm Aaron Rift. You guys will see me next time. Different from how you've seen me before. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but
and don't worry, Aaron. All of my agreement too. I'll shave too.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my beard hair, Jeff. To put on your face.
Ew,
And one more plug for everybody out there. WadeNeedham.com.
Yeah, buddy.
WadeNeedham.com. We will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.